Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Winter Seasonal 2025 Anime Impressions Podcast. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And the hiatus is over. We're back. Regular episodes are back once again.
Wow, what a what a conclusive finale to Castaway anime. Us recording like how many days since the final episode came out? Like
Oh,
2, 3?
barely a week, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, we recorded it a while ago, but it came out not that long ago.
Yeah, but as we said, regular episodes, the like bi-weekly episodes, are no longer going to be a thing for the foreseeable future. Maybe they'll come back one day if all goes according to plan. But we did agree to continue to do the seasonal impressions podcast because y'all love these the most. And I can't speak for Crunchy, but I enjoy making them.
I enjoy ragging on the shows after it's done, and sometimes you get a don to don, and you're like, oh man, this is peak. And that could happen this season because Sarairo Utility is next block. I am super pumped for it. That might save the season, but my impressions of the season as of this block.
Save the season? Are you implying that this season is cheeks?
It's okay. I'm not gonna say it's the worst block of episodes we've ever had, because I'd really have to go and comb through, like, all the different ones we've done. Like, there's been blocks of episodes where there hasn't been, like, a single truly great show to save it, where it's just been, like, the top of the pack is, like, 6 to maybe a light 7. This block of episodes is, like, it's close. It's really close.
I'll spoil right
Because
now, of these 16 shows in this particular block for the podcast, I only cared to continue 5 of them.
care to continue 5 of them? That's crazy.
At varying
Because
degrees of like willingness. Like some are head and shoulders above others, but we'll get to that.
I have 3 shows that I would even consider continuing, and for 2 of them, I think I'd rather read the manga.
Uh,
Genuinely, like, it is
I
it
have
is
a
really
feeling I
bad.
know what those two are. I have a feeling we're gonna open talking about it immediately.
So, for Sakamoto Days,
Yeah,
there were rumors. There were rumors going on. I wanna set the scene here. Everyone was or not everyone because the show wasn't out yet, but there were, whispers. Oh, the people who, like, test watched, Sakamoto Days or whatever, they didn't like it. They thought it didn't do the manga justice. And then it came out, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's so peak, it looks so great," and I'm like, "Ugh, crisis averted. Okay, we do have a great adaptation for Sakamoto Days." And then I watched it, and it turns out the adaptation is dog shit.
I wouldn't say dog shit.
It's okay. I'm exaggerating a little, but oh my god, the characters are made of pudding. It feels they are off model like every other shot. And I feels like I could grab them and just pull and stretch them however I please.
I mean,
Except for
you could
the action scenes.
yeah,
They
you could
pulled
definitely do that
they
for
pulled their act together for
Sakamoto
the
himself
action.
because his face is made of pudding.
Yeah, I
Comedically
mean,
so, endearingly
yeah, in
so.
that case, yeah, in that case, deliberately. But oh my god, there are so many shots where the art is really weird looking, or where you look too close at a character's face in the background and you go, oh, it's like sliding off into the abyss. It's not where it should be. And you start to get the feeling that maybe they needed a bit more time in the oven. That maybe putting it out in this state wasn't the right call.
This might be a weird criticism to make. I don't know if you'll agree with this. And I can't speak to how he looks in the manga because I haven't read it and I haven't looked at too
I
many
actually,
images of the
I'll cut you
manga.
off just real quick. I have the first volume of the manga, and I did do comparisons because I was
Okay.
curious.
So, does Shin in the manga look like he's been run over by a steamroller and flattened a bunch in the manga?
Shin, I assume that's blonde boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you say it, I do kind of see it.
There's something about his
My
design in the anime that's like he doesn't look finished. I can't quite put my finger on why.
So I think I can put my finger on why, because this is something I did comparisons for in the manga just to make sure. He doesn't have enough face. There is not enough of it on him. It feels like
He's lacking
just part of his
volume.
face, part of his face, it's just too much of a triangle to the point where it looks like there's just not much face on there. Everyone in the manga is like much pudgier, and I did comparisons. You definitely like, even in the manga, his face is really like, you can tell he's supposed to be the skinny one of the manga, whereas everyone else has these like warm, pudgy designs, very circular faces, and he's got one that comes to more of a point, you know, probably as a deliberate contrast against everyone. But because the manga has, time to make sure the art is consistent in each individual frame, you look at it and it's like he looks complete. He looks like he has enough face. It's still a very skinny one, but you get what they're going for and it makes sense and it feels right. Everyone is just so pudgy in the manga and I really love it. Like I turned into the manga and was like, man, I kind of want to read this instead. Like, why would I go to the inconsistent, uh, just not great anime by comparison when everyone in the manga, all the main characters, once again, just have that pudgy look to them that they feel like they feel squishable, but in a good way.
Yeah, and Shin does not. Shin, I'll say again,
Shin.
he lacks. He looks like he lacks volume in his design, and he doesn't look filled out. If that makes any sense, like he did get run over with the steamroller. And he's the only character I have an issue with like that. I don't mind Sakamoto's design at all. I think he's wonderfully jolly and goofy. Yet still, it's funny to see him do badass action things, even with a pudgy dad bod.
Yeah. The moment I knew this adaptation was going to be a problem was in the very first scene. Because the very first scene, it's an action scene. It's supposed to show how Sakamoto, he used to be super badass. Kind of a cardinal sin to start off on an action scene like that, but whatever, like I get it. They're setting up a punchline. But I mean, it's not super inspiringly directed. But the big issue that I had,
Was it
the thing that
the
immediately
weird
set me off.
faded letterboxing in the action scene?
What? Yeah, what the fuck was up with that?
Yeah, that was
What?
hideous.
It looks so bad.
I have no idea what they were
Just
cooking there.
Just make them black, and the scene improves like threefold. It's actually so distracting.
That was the only time that they did that too in the for a flashback scene, because there was another flashback scene I'm pretty sure later in the episode with Sakamoto and Shin, and where he's reminiscing about the two of them working together, and there was no weird faded letterboxing there.
It's just a really weird choice. But another directing choice I really did not vibe with was the color design of this show. Because you look at the cover of the manga, right? This is why I have the first volume of the manga, because I didn't know anything about this series. I just saw it on the bookshelf in Barnes& and Noble and went, huh, that seems cool. And I looked at the cover. Super colorful, super bright and poppy. Like, everyone stands out, just a very bold color palette, right? And this is, it's a mixture of slice of life and action, kind of like a Spy Family type deal. But it doesn't have the poppy colors of a Spy Family. Even the slice of life scenes, like, I get it for the action scenes, right? You're in a deep, dark, like, underground fucking, it's the crime scene. It's not supposed to be, cute and poppy. But when you get to the slice of life scenes, you'd expect there to be a contrast. But it still looks just as dreary. The show just looks, the world of the show looks depressing to be in because it is so faded out, and like, why did they go with this color palette? It does not make sense for this show.
Yeah, it's kind of drab. It's not very pleasing to the senses. Like, I'll say that I don't think that the anime for Spy X Family has the most poppy color palette, but that works in its favor because it's trying to evoke a more like well, what's the word I'm looking for? Rustic kind of sense, in the kind of classy pseudo British country that they're living in with the high
Yeah, I
upper class
mean,
schools. Like the
it's
the
not
like Anya's
it's not
hair
like
is not like a very bright poppy pink
yeah.
color. It's like a kind of a toned down salmon pink. Lloyd's suit is not like a bright flashy green. It's like a subdued green.
But it still feels, like, colorful,
Yeah,
like, it
it
can
still feels
revert
like there's
into
more
that.
color and it plays into the aesthetic of
Yeah.
the show, whereas this one feels like it's lacking color and has no excuse for it.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking through the episode and immediately found another shot where Shin is conspicuously, I don't know if he's off model, but he just looks really fat for some
Hi
reason in
I
this
think I
shot.
think it's his baggy trench coat that he
Yeah,
wears, not doing him any favors. Also, was not
it's
expecting
just
magic to be in the show.
yeah, he is just a telepath,
He's
but
Anya, but
it's
if
just an Esper.
but he would dog Anya in a fight.
Yeah, I mean, for the goofy sort of tone this show is going for, it does work. Like, the action, obviously, it's completely unrealistic, but it's hilarious. Like, that is the joke. And in terms of the writing, I don't really have complaints. I think that the characters are all immediately charming. I love Sakamoto himself. He's great. I
I
love how he
love
just
that
doesn't speak.
much like most men this generation, all it took for him to completely turn his life around was for a woman to smile at him.
True. I love the shot of him, like, nervously trying to kiss her on, his wedding. There's just so many
Listen,
little
man, if your
endearing
wife was
moments about
Kobaini
him.
Chainsaw Man, you'd be nervous to kiss her too.
True. I love how he has this mixture of, like, he's super kind-hearted, stoic, silent, but obviously, like, wants the best for, Shin, but at the same time is super intimidating and menacing. And Shin has this really, fun dynamic of both loving him and, like, thinking, "Oh, you've really let yourself, you've let yourself fall, Sakamoto, like, you're not the badass he used to be," while simultaneously having this respect and even fear of him in terms of his raw abilities. It's a great back and forth. I love the writing of this show. It's just a shame that visually it looks really bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's like the ugliest thing in the world. I am
I
definitely
mean, half the season is uglier, let's be real, but
yeah.
still.
Yeah, but even compared to like other like big shows of a season cuz like this is clearly the flagship show of the season. What everyone's talking about. It's of like shows of its ilk, it's not the worst thing ever. I do definitely wish it could have been a whole lot better. And it is also coming out in a time where Spy Family is currently airing, and like it's not doing it any favors, especially coming after being reminded what good anime can look like consistently, like Don to Don. Isn't it crazy how Don to Don never fell off? The animation quality never took a hit.
If only other shows could do the same, but this just needed another year in the oven. It really did, because this reeks of a show that had a very truncated pre-production. They did not have a good grasp on what they wanted this show to look like. I think this really is like a ground up issue with this show's production of just being too short and everything getting shortchanged in small ways. And the only reason why the action still looks, competent is because those were the ones that had energy allocated into them in order to make up for the extremely lackluster art and direction otherwise.
Yeah, the studio behind this one, TMS Entertainment, they're not really known for doing big flashy anime. I think the current stuff they're doing right now is of course we all know Rent a Girlfriend, Rent a Peak. But like when it comes to shonen, the I think they do Baki and they do Doctor Stone, both of which have never been known for their animation.
Yeah. Basically, to wrap things up, Sakamoto Days deserved better. Read the manga, forehead.
Yeah, I might continue it just because it's like not because it's the best show of the season, but because it's gonna be the big show of the season. Like, is gonna be what people are gonna be talking about. But outside of that, it's just pretty good, pretty decent. Like 6 to 7 right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's still I mean, complete package-wise, yeah, it is a fine show. I think the writing could even elevate it to good levels. It's just the manga, I mean, I have it in my hand. I have the first volume right
Also,
here.
I just checked the Mal page. According to Mal, it is going to be airing in split core, a la Spy Family, where the first part will come out, right now, and then the second part will come out in summer.
What's its score?
7.95.
Yeah, kind of expected that.
Yeah, on the verge of an 8, but I think there are a lot of people who are resonating with the sentiment that it could have been better.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Sputtle gassing this for some reason. I was like super excited when I first saw him gassing because I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna be so good. And then it was a letdown, kind of like most of this season.
But you know what wasn't a total letdown? Medalist, baby!
Medalist is I have my issues with it, but it is better than Sakamoto Days, like as an anime, in my opinion.
Uh, big agree. Which is surprising for me to say because this is animated by Studio Engi, who what the fuck did they do? I know they did fucking Uzaki-chan. Um,
I mean, I will say the visuals are also not spectacular on this show. It at least has the right color palette. So
I like the
they
color
got
palette,
that
and I do
far.
like the artwork.
Yeah, I don't think there was the artwork definitely does not have the persistent off-modelness of Sakamoto Days, which definitely makes it a lot more visually appealing. I mean, the backgrounds and compositing aren't always spectacular, but it's not offensive either, in the same way that Uzaki kind of was, not gonna lie.
I think it's like probably the first good show by Engi, cause or at least watchable show. Cause as far as things that they've done in the past, they've done Uzaki-chan, they did Kimono Michi. What the fuck else did they do? Uh, the detective. What was it? The detective is already
Detective is
dead.
already dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that show had a production and a half. Or more like half a production, considering how it turned out.
Yeah. Our dating story, or Kimi Zero, whatever the fuck. Yeah, just a whole bunch of mid to slop, but this is like the first good thing that I think they put out.
Probably because it's working off of an already renowned source material. Like, I already knew going in, this was supposed to be like a manga with a lot of fans that people really gas up.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I
it
hear
has an
nothing but good things, and
85
I've seen the
average
artwork
score
of
on
Metal.
AniList.
Yeah, I've seen the artwork of Medalist manga, and I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. It's a shame
Yeah,
that it didn't get the adaptation it should probably have deserved. Well,
I mean,
with
I
better.
saw the CG skaters at the very or the one CG skater rather, and like I was afraid it was gonna get real bad real quick. Thankfully, there was not actually that much CG in this episode. And the
Yeah, and
CG they did have at the beginning wasn't even like terrible.
no, it's actually
It
pretty
wasn't
good. The
offensive.
reason was because it was mo-capped.
Yeah, makes sense. And I mean, I'm more so focused on the compositing, where it just like there were times when it almost felt 2D. Obviously, if you have an eye for it, you can immediately tell it's 3D. But
Yeah.
they were getting there.
It's a shame that we couldn't get like peak Yuri on Ice level animation. but I don't think Engi right now as a studio seems to be equipped for that kind of thing, or at least given the
It's
production
a
schedule to do
fine
so.
adaptation, yeah.
Yeah, as what'd you say the manga had on AniList?
85.
Yeah, the on Mal it has an 8.58, just 5 places shy out of a top 100 manga of all time.
So we're dealing with a very, very revered manga
Yeah, and it's a
in
manga
terms
from
of its
this
source
decade. It
material.
started in 2020.
Yeah, so the core of the story, it's about this dude. I'm so bad at names, so I'm gonna have to check
Tsukasa.
all of these. Tsukasa. And he's an adult. He got into figure skating too late, and people were constantly talking down on him because I guess it's something you need to be like a really young kid to get into. And if you're not
I,
a super young kid, everyone just looks down on you and is what the fuck? You're getting like
I don't know if it's like a
way too late
Japanese
into
thing
this.
or it's just like or if it is like a
I thought it
genuine
was
thing in
really weird. I
athletics.
was like,
Cause like the whole
yeah,
time when they were talking about Inori, the main girl character, she's right on the cutoff point. If she doesn't start like seriously getting into skating now, she'll never get in. She'll never like excel in the big leagues. Like, bitch, she's 11. If I started like
yeah,
training at a sport at age 11 into my teen years where I would actually like start applying myself in places like high school or even college, like that's like a good at least 5 years of practice. If I dedicated myself to 5 years of practicing for a sport, I think I'd get pretty good at it.
yeah.
At least certainly at age 11.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I'd have to do like independent research to know what the fuck is going on. But I guess that is just a cultural thing, I imagine. And it's actually the same age that she is that the main guy got into figure skating at first. And so he really like resonates
Well,
with what
he
she's
got into
going
it at
through.
14. 3 years
At
past where
14?
yeah, where
Really?
three
Okay.
years past where Inori is currently at, and like the reason that like he is so emotionally resonant with Inori is because she doesn't want her. She like he recognizes the potential in her and sees himself in her in his past of, oh, like they told me I wanted to pursue my passion of figure skating, but everyone told me I was too late to start getting into it. I was too late to start chasing my dream, and I had to settle for being an ice dancer instead of a proper figure skater. So I didn't achieve anything in the figure skating career. But this girl, she wants to start figure skating, and it doesn't matter that she's only 11 and not 5 years old. She has talent, she has potential, and by golly, I'm gonna see to it that she gets to fucking nationals.
Yeah, it's an endearing story, and I mean, you can tell from a very early point because the show does a good job of setting this up that Inori is her story kind of depressing as fuck.
It's not even like
She is not okay.
not even in a tragic way. It's just a damn. This is just kind of real way. This is like current kid
She is
feeling.
someone who does not know how to socialize with
She
other
hates
people.
herself. She
And
literally
yeah,
says,
like blatantly at the end of the episode.
he's like, yeah, Mom, please let me skate. I hate myself. I hate going to school because I don't know how to connect with all the kids. Skating is literally all I know how to do. It's all I think I'm good for it. If I don't have this, I have nothing to live for. And it's like,
Like the
damn,
scene of
bitch,
her
you're 11.
desperately trying to, dig up worms from the ground, getting her hands filthy because that's the only way she gets to do what she loves. Because I mean, it's a subplot of the episode that she has been giving the owner of the ice rink worms as payment because he likes feeding the birds. And he's mostly just doing it as a way to like sate her and because he feels bad for her because it is
It's so
literally like she is
sad.
desperate for it.
Dude, I think I felt the most emotionally this entire block. Seeing her that one scene of her desperately trying to dig up the worms, but then flashing back to Tsukasa telling like, "Hey, if you know what you're doing is wrong, then you have to stop it." And she starts breaking down, crying.
Yeah, that was extremely effective storytelling. But I do I do have one weird issue with this episode, which is what the fuck is up with her mom? Like, actually, what the fuck is up with her mom?
I did find it a little weird to her to go from no, Inori, you're not allowed to go figure skating because we did that with your older sister. She suffered an injury while doing so. That I they never say this explicitly, but they say that she never skated again after the injury. So maybe it was so bad that it prohibited her from being able to skate properly
I
again.
imagine we're gonna see this sister later on in the
Yeah,
show,
like
and, like,
there's no way
catch
like
up
put
with
her into a
her.
fucking wheelchair, you'll never walk again type shit. But I feel like it's more of a thing of why I don't want you to run the risk again and like let yourself get disappointed after you put all that effort into something like this, only for it to blow up into your face.
So I get conceptually what her emotional deal is, but it has a lot to do with the framing. Because what happens is the mom takes the girl in Nori, just making sure I got the name right. She takes her in to get taught by this friend that Tsukasa has who wants him to become a teacher for her or really for whoever comes in, but it ends up being her because of course it does. But the mom's secret plan, or I guess not so secret plan, is okay. I'm gonna take you to these coaches, and they're gonna say you're not good. Like you suck, and you're too old. You're old as fuck, bro. Get out of here. But then she says this plan to the people who she is trying to get to say no, which why? I don't get that. But then she compounds the confusion by then like blatantly emotionally abusing her in front of them. Like actual emotional abuse. And this is not me exaggerating. She tells her, "Oh, look at all those people who are ice skating. Won't you feel so disappointed in yourself when you see that you're so much worse than them? If you say this to an 11-year-old, you are a piece of shit. Like you are just a bad person." But the main character, Tsukasa, looks at this and goes, "Oh man, yeah, I really need to convince her that, Inori is cut out for this." I mean, he does get mad at her, rightfully so, because holy shit, her mom is a disgusting, reprehensible human being.
I
But
wouldn't go that far.
he,
Like she's definitely in the wrong for what she's trying to do. But like I feel like the show does a decent job being like, okay, you can at least
I
kind of see where she's coming
understand
from.
why, but oh my lord, it is so awful. It's really bad. And I'm not sure the main character. I'm not sure if the show recognizes how bad this is.
I
Like
think
this
they
is
were trying to use
not
it more as a
great
vehicle
behavior.
of like representing like roadblocks in your life of being like, hey, you know that thing that's like you want to do, but you other people think you're not cut out for it. Maybe you've had like a parental figure in life. You're like, hey, I don't know, I want to be a YouTuber, and your parents like, that's fucking gay. You'll never do good doing that.
See, I get that, but there were ways to frame this better that wouldn't make her mom just seem like an awful person. Because
The
I
one
mean,
part
first of
that
all, I
threw me
don't
off
get
the
why she just
most.
says her plan, like her scheming plan to them. Like why I feel like it'd make more sense if okay, like she's silent about this plan the entire time, then Sukasa gets like really amped about her skills and goes, "Oh my god, she's so good." And then like the mom, starts like getting afraid and then says the story and then says, "Oh, I thought you were going to say that she wasn't cut out for this." Like, no, what do you
That
mean? I was
is
trying to like
better.
dash her hopes or whatever. And that's like not openly so malicious seeming. It really I don't know how she doesn't have at least the self-awareness to recognize that saying that in front of a stranger would seem a little bit like you're a garbage human being, at least in their
Well, I feel
eyes.
like what threw me off the most wasn't even that, which like yeah, that could have been done better. But the part that threw me off the most is when she like blatantly recognizes, "Oh wow, Inori, you have so much talent," when she's showing off for the coach and being like, "You're a natural at this, Inori. You could actually do well if you started applying yourself." And then she's like, "Does that mean you let me skate?" She's like, "Absolutely not." It's like, why would you get her
Well,
hopes up
see,
like that? Why would you
in
compliment her and be
line
like,
with
"Yeah, but
my
I'm still not gonna let you sign up."
in line with my headcanon that she is potentially an abusive figure, it kind of red flag when the 11-year-old says to her mom, "You're praising me? You're actually complimenting me? Holy shit." I was like, maybe the show is aware. Maybe they're cooking and I just don't maybe I just don't understand what The Rock is cooking. All right, maybe.
Maybe we're gearing up for the Inori gets emotionally and physically abused by her mom arc, and we're gonna pop off when it happens. She's gonna
I
backhand her child across the room and have her like Gary's Mod ragdoll across the floor, and we're gonna get up from our couches and cheer.
I am genuinely 50-50 split on whether the show is actually aware of how bad the mom is being.
I
I mean,
kind of don't think
I
they are, considering that she's like,
I
"Oh, okay, I'll let you
really
sign up at the
I really
end."
hope they are, but like when she went on that rant about how much she hates herself, I was just like, I think I know who did it. The woman who told her, the 11-year-old, "Oh wow, you
The
should feel so disappointed in yourself for not doing as well as these other kids. You, that's sick. What why would you say that?"
Yeah, it's very
Just
sick. But
without this one hang up, this show's writing would be perfect.
thankfully,
Genuinely.
based boy Sukasa cut through all that bullshit and was just like, no, she's like, she has so much talent. It would be a horrible tragedy to let all of this talent go to waste when she clearly wants to do this. And him offering to take her to nationals so she doesn't miss her opportunity. So kind of like it's like a classic sporting story where a player who didn't get as far as he would have liked now takes on the mentor role to teach the next generation uh to get as far like farther than they ever could to achieve the dreams they never could.
I really like how embarrassingly loud Tsukasa is at like announcing his determination to make Inori a star. Like, and how his friend is just like, "Jesus Christ, Tsukasa, what did I say? I
Tsukasa, no, you're
predicted
not allowed to
this."
show favoritism. We'll get complaints from the parents that you're singling out one child.
Meanwhile,
And it's like, all right, no, it's fine. I'm not gonna do it. She does like a basic like technique, and she's like, and Tsukatsu's like, you're a fucking genius. Why haven't we signed you up already?
I love it. It's really endearing for Tsukasa's character. I'm totally on board with his enthusiasm.
I love
I also love his
the
reply to the
chemistry.
mom, like, "Dude, just get her ass on the ice rink already. What are you doing?"
I love the chemistry that Inori and Tsukasa have. It's one of the best aspects of the show. Where the first time they meet, Tsukasa catches her sneaking into the rink without paying. And like his justification for doing so is because if my broke ass had to pay for entry, then this child has to as well.
I love how petty he is.
And like literally chases her out of the building, and they show that he is still a nice guy deep down when the owner's like, no wait, I said I let that kid in, and he's like, oh wait, for real? And then so he then chases her down, not for to catch her, but to be like, oh, okay, now I need to clear up the misunderstanding. And but she's meanwhile doing hardcore parkour, like she's sliding down
Yeah,
the railing.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I love the shot of her sliding down the railings with, like spiral eyes and in a frantic panic.
Yeah, once again, this is a bit of a read the manga moment, but as long as the anime stays relatively consistent visually, which I wouldn't get my hopes up, but if it does, it would still be like an adequate adaptation.
Yeah, I'll definitely want to be continuing this. Looking through the entire list of the blocks so far, this is my current show of the season. Maybe.
Same.
Yeah, it's a.
It's not really a competition.
Yeah, the only shows that are competing with it right now are Sakamoto Days and perhaps like one or two other shows, but like It's really
I
only
think I know what those 2 shows are, and there are reasons why I would definitely put both of those shows well below this one.
yeah. No, Medalist clears all of them. Uh, if I just want to point out two more things before we move on to the next show. I love the bit where after Tsukasa hits his head, saving Inori from falling, she's like standing over him, crying, pouring her what I assume is like tea or something onto his face to bring him back to resuscitate him, and crying, be like, "Please come back, please come back." It's like, "It's okay,
I
kid, I'm
love
back."
it.
I'm blah, 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 blah. She's just pouring it into his mouth while she's still crying.
God.
Inori is a good girl. She's a very must protect girl.
I love her character design. I really, really like her character design. Because
Her
she does
hairdo
not
is really
look like
cute.
Yeah, she does not look like a stereotypical shy girl, and I love that about her. She's like the perfect mix of like, you can see her being this shy person who doesn't really talk to people, but at the same time, like, she's got her hair up, she looks a bit sporty, she looks like she could really kill on the rink. It's a great design.
I love at the very end of the episode after the credits, where she now is under the tutelage of Tsukasa. As soon as the school bell rings to let the kids out for the day, she just immediately bolts out the door like, "Bye, sensei!" Just go into the rink, and she greets Tsukasa with a big warm smile. Like you know that there's gonna be like, I'm very much looking forward to a found family sort of dynamic between Tsukasa and Inori. I doubt Inori is gonna be literally fatherless. I'd be surprised if. Well, I guess it wouldn't be too out of the.
They didn't. I mean,
There
I
was no
actually
father
think the
figure
opposite.
present.
I think she is fatherless. Because she gets home from school that one time, and she's like trying to ask her mom like if she can do this, and her mom like immediately like deadpan says like I'm not helping you with your homework. Like she's cooking right now. Uh, I feel like that's supposed to be a clue, like oh she's really busy, she's really overworked, something like that.
I don't
So
know. We'll see.
I'm picking up on the clues. I'm like Sherlock Holmes up in here.
I will say it is kind of like a normal thing for anime to only have like one parent home at the time, while the others, usually the dad, is off at work, not returning till late hours into the night.
True.
So maybe the dad's just chronically busy. But if there either way, I have a strong feeling there's gonna be the relationship between Tsukasa and Inori is gonna evolve a little bit beyond just coaching. It's gonna be like, I don't think it's just gonna be like, I'm gonna marry your mom, Inori. I'm gonna become your new dad. But I think there's gonna be many a sweet moment of Inori giving Tsukasa a big ol' hug, and Tsukasa getting very protective of her.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see all that unfold. Or it could, or they, or the author could just Usagi drop it, and everyone will
No,
hate
please,
themselves
no.
simultaneously.
Let us have our wholesome 100 platonic, completely non-romantic
people
at all.
Usagi Drop was gonna be a found family show. They thought.
Just let this grown man be a good adult figure of inspiration and companionship for this child.
I am hoping. I would read the manga. I think it is probably still a read the manga moment, just not nearly as hard as Sakamoto Days.
Yeah.
But even still, like, the story, it's good. If you end up watching the anime, like, the story will still be fine, it's looking like.
Yeah, if this is the kind of show that doesn't get season 2, it would definitely be worth looking into the manga. Also, last thing I want to point out real quick, Kenshi Yonezu spotted for the opening.
I do not know who that is.
Yep, you know who fucking Kenji Yonezu is.
What other openings did he do?
Chainsaw Man?
Okay, I do know who he is.
Fucking, he did the...
I stand corrected.
He did Orion from fucking March Comes Like a Lion.
Yeah, okay, I definitely know who this is.
Yeah,
I guess I just didn't recognize him.
I was gonna say, ain't no way you forgot his fucking name.
Well, I don't really look into the names of Japanese artists. I should,
He's
Music
one of
artist
the
specifically,
he's one of the
obviously,
big
I
ones
have.
though. He's like one he did bro, he has a fucking Ghibli movie to his name. Come on.
I am not a music guy. In case it wasn't obvious, I know Lemon Demon, and that's the end of the sentence right there.
Well, all right. We've talked enough about Medalist. So now, Crunchy, you I know you have opinions in with a capital O proper noun opinions registered trademark at the end of it about our next show, because you got the Fell For It award. Yeah, you big Wojak Fell For It award pinned right onto your chest from watching Zenshu.
All right, I have screenshotted in my notes the exact message I sent you upon finding out the twist, and I think I'm going to do a dramatic reenactment. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Why would you put me through this? We need to skip this season. We just need to jump cut to spring. What the fuck were they cooking with Zenshu? Why would they do that? As if there weren't enough of them already! Neon, what the fuck did they think they were cooking? Neon, it's my worst nightmare. I can't escape. They built the Torment Nexus and it's fucking isekai! I actually can't believe they did this. Market it with no mention of it being an isekai. I come in thinking, man, can't wait to see an epic artist's journey through their creative struggles, only to learn the horrible truth. I am shell-shocked. I am in awe. I will never recover mentally from this.
You know what? Close enough. Welcome back, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
It's...
Welcome back, Zombieland Saga.
But see, it's just... It's you want to know the funniest thing? For isekai standards, this is a masterpiece. Obviously, by normal show standards, it's like a 6 out of 10. But by isekai standards, that is incredible. That is like monumental, game-changing for the entire genre. It's not even that bad.
I'll
The
say
fact
straight
that
out.
they had the gall to make it an isekai just astounds me.
I'll say straight out that I think I'm all right with continuing the show just to see where they go from here. But boy, I would have definitely preferred the original idea the show was pitched as.
See, the thing with this show is that the beginning was already showing a lot of red flags because, all right, I'm coming in expecting Shirobako type story, right? At the very least, something I didn't expect it to be as good as I've been told Shirobako is, but like something to do with the artist's journey. You got your Barakamons, your to a certain extent Imose,
Yeah,
your
I was expecting Shirobako meets Barakamon, where instead of it being a show about how an anime gets made, it was going to be about an animator trying to figure out their artistic voice after losing it.
Yeah, I mean, the first red flag was that it just started off in a really weird spot for this kind of story, where the main character, first of all, I love the main character. Best
Oh
part
yeah,
of the show.
Natsuko's design, I love
Literally
it.
the best. I love how her face is always covered. And then at the end, when they show her eyes for the first time, it's this really, emotionally powerful moment that they set up because of the design. But it just starts off in a really weird spot where she's already sort of lauded as this genius, and she's like, you know, it's sort of an Abiko situation, except obviously not as compelling because it doesn't go in that direction, where she wants to do everything in the production herself, and she doesn't want anyone else's artistic voice except herself. And I'm like, okay, we're setting things up. It just feels like a really weird place to already be doing this. It just feels a bit weird, and like maybe we should have started more at the beginning of the production instead of dropping us right in the middle, it seems. But then you learn the twist, because She eats her food, and then all of a sudden, that's not right. Uh, the food's poisoned, and then she dies.
Who the fuck swapped out my sushi for perk 10,000?
And she goes into Isekai Land, and this is the exact moment where I messaged you this, where I realized what the fuck this show was. And I was,
Ladies and
Okay,
gentlemen,
listen.
we've been
if
debated.
if later in this block of episodes, I would get so bored of watching the extremely high amount of isekai that I started watching Steins Gate instead. Except then I realized this isn't. You know, we got to the part where the satellite hits the building and Okabe's looking up at it and like the rubble is falling. But then that wasn't what happened. The isekai, the satellite actually fell from the building and hit him, and he died. And then I realized I wasn't watching Steins Gate, I was watching the little-known spin-off series called Okabe Rintaro gets hit by a giant fucking satellite and dies before being reincarnated as a leather boot and starting a harem of big-titted tsunderes, one of whom looks concerningly like she's in middle school, in another world. And I just lost it. It's inescapable, not even Steins Gate is safe. Literally, if this can turn into an isekai, anything can become an isekai. Nothing is safe. I genuinely couldn't. Anything.
So
can.
Crunchy,
any show you start can become
how
one.
much trust do you have in new original projects that seem promising now, knowing that they can now be shadow dropped into isekai at any moment?
They can all become isekai now. Genuinely, I'm not even exaggerating. We have. This is
the most crunchy, one of the most crunchy coded premises you could possibly pitch for Mr. Crunchy Bagels, and then to pull the rug out from under and being like, psych bitch, it was an isekai the whole time.
You know, the ending is actually pretty good. The ending hardcore carries this episode because you get tons of flashy
This might be a hot
animation.
take, that scene where she's animating the monster that defeats all those other monsters. I think individually, I think that was the best scene of any show this block.
I absolutely agree. That went extremely hard. There were soaring emotions.
It was the best animation cut.
By far. I love how it's in that sort of Genga style of unfinished animation because she's just rushing it out.
Yeah, if you look closely,
great.
You'll see little production notes that'll pop up in the world that she summons it every now and then.
Yeah, and she's doing it because the idea is that she's been reincarnated in her favorite anime, and she knows everything that's about to happen. First of all, I'm not really convinced the anime itself is that interesting. Maybe we'll get more interesting world building tidbits and get to know the characters. But she talks about it very highly, oh yes, this anime, instead of being commercial slop, it has real dark emotions and it's really emotional. And I'm like, this is the most generic way to call something good imaginable. I am not convinced. Oh, it's dark, it has emotions. Bitch, half of every season you could theoretically say that about. It's just that most of them aren't actually good at doing any of that.
What was that one fucking show with the strip murder torture with the witches?
Strip murder torture witches.
Remember
what the fuck are you talking about?
Remember that one show where the guy the witches are being persecuted, and the king rips off the one witch's clothes and then executes her in front of everyone.
Oh yeah, that one. That one.
And then he gets bloody
that
revenge.
One's real dark and emotional too.
I completely forget the name of it. I just remember how fucking hilarious it was.
Deservedly so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced that if she had called it avant-garde, experimental, the director is an auteur, I would have been oh, I'm my interest is piqued, but instead she's it's dark, it's emotional. What else is new? Got anything else?
I will
So,
say though, I don't think I quite understand what they're cooking with connecting the excuse me, point of the isekai plot line with the point of the OG real world plot line of her not having her voice because according to the synopsis, she's unable to identify like the concept of like what a first love is because that's what her movie that she's directing is about. It's a romance and she doesn't understand romance, so she's like, well shit, I don't know what to draw this, I don't
that
know how to
was
convey
in the
this.
show?
Huh?
When? That was a
uh
part of the show?
I think wasn't there like an errant line at the beginning of the thing where it was like, it's a, yeah, I made this one like really
Uh,
cool magical girl anime that was like really cool and awesome, and it was like a big smash hit. So then I got tasked with directing a movie.
or oh, okay, I remember that line now. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it's
It
like
was
I
just
don't know
kind of
what to do about it.
haphazard.
Yeah,
I didn't
and
know
so
that
I'm
was, like,
like,
core to her character.
dang, do we really need an isekai plotline? Was she gonna fall for like the main generic hero character, fucking Braveheart man?
I mean, I assume that's what they're going for, but that's like the least of her issues. Her issues is that it's not that she doesn't understand love, it's that she's a perfectionist and doesn't work well with people, as evidenced by her character design. Why is that the angle?
And if
That's
you
such a weird way to frame it.
Yeah, and then when you really think about it, the day is ultimately saved by her, even though she did it to prevent a character from sacrificing themselves, which would have sent the main character into a depression spiral. She still ultimately saves the day by herself, not by working with others.
I mean, I imagine that'll become more evident as the show continues, but it's just I don't think the show is going to do a good job of blending the artist's journey versus the isekai, because, like, why would it? That if you were going to do an artist's journey show, you would just show the artist's journey. This is proven. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Barakamon is like the best show in existence for a reason. You can just show artists doing their thing. Bakuman, I've heard that's good. Shirobako is Digi's like near top anime. Like it's apparently really good, and I believe her. Why you
Um,
don't you don't need to do this?
I'll also say, how much are we also going to be sticking with like plot mechanic of, oh, because I've been transported into my favorite movie and I know every line and every event that's going to unfold. Now that she's drastically changed the events by preventing a character from killing themselves in a sacrifice which would have caused the main character to spiral into a depression. Doesn't that all like drastically change the timeline of events now? Doesn't her foreknowledge of events kind of ultimately be less worth of use now?
True. I mean, there's probably some things she can still predict because some parts of the world are just set in stone and, maybe plot mechanics are going on in the background at this point. But yeah, like as it goes on, she'll be able to rely on that less. So she's kind of getting nerfed as a character in real time.
I hope she's also able to draw like more wackier and different creatures. Like I hope she doesn't just keep drawing the same laser bug beast every time.
I mean, they have to. There's no way they're going to make a character whose main mechanic is drawing things into reality, not draw like a bunch of unique things into reality. That's although I wonder like okay, that thing she summoned is huge.
Yeah, it's like, isn't that like an
What's
instant
the
win button or
limiter?
some shit? Like
How
having the ability to
how
like
is this
draw anything into reality is cool and all, but like if I could draw a fucking laser shooting kaiju that wipes out an entire army of monsters, wouldn't I just do that every time?
I mean, the one limiter, which is not really a good one, is that after using the power, she fainted, and so it, like, I guess uses up mana or whatever, if we're going with that.
With maybe it's like a Megamine thing where she can only fire off one before she becomes useless for a while.
I guess the other limiting factor, which is I feel like they could do this one. I feel like I'm seeing through the code here. Is that because of her artist's block, she'll occasionally not have the passion to draw something that good, and so it'll just turn out looking like a comedic looking shitty doodle. I imagine they have to do that joke at some point.
Yeah, this show definitely has simultaneously, I shouldn't say that. I should say it has the widest range, like widest valley of potential, where it either they could somehow like turn this into some unique weird masterpiece that we didn't see coming, or it could be a big steaming crock of shit that gets boring, more and more boring as it goes on.
I honestly feel like with a slightly different execution and marketing, this first episode could be like a good short film almost. Like with a few changes, because it really does hit that like emotional climax at the end.
I can't tell
Uh,
if this is because since more episodes are out since it came out, and now people have like gotten a better taste of what the show is, or if people were just butthurt about getting bait and switched from the first episode.
Rightfully so.
The
Rightful.
Mal score currently sitting at 7.24, which is not great for an original show.
Yeah, on AniList it was 65.
Ooh,
So AniList
yikes.
was not happy.
Yeah, right now on Mal, it is currently the 8th most popular show of the season.
Yeah, overall, 0 out of 10, it was an isekai.
I just knew, like, I got spoiled for the twist online, which was definitely a lame thing to have happen, but at the same time, because this is before you made your post about it in the Discord, so I'm just like licking my chops, being like, "Oh, Crunchy's gonna fucking hate this."
it's it's literally my 9/11. I'm destroyed.
Oh, well, you know what? Maybe this one can bring you back from the darkness. Maybe I'm getting married to a girl I hate in my class will be the the crashing the plane into the field. I don't know a good analogy for this.
I have you know what? I have a new title recommendation for this show. I'm being forced to watch a show I fucking hate in my podcast. You like that one?
What a mean-spirited show this is.
I I'm not sure if I got far enough to say that definitively about it because I mean I'm telling you straight up I almost immediately put it onto 2x and still couldn't finish the episode. It is
I got as far as
really bad.
them moving in together before I was just like which I think was like halfway into the episode before I was like I'm done.
I got to the scene where oh, you know what? You know what my breaking point was? It's when the main bitch is talking to the yellow-haired bitch, and she's like, like, have you ever been in love with someone before?" And the yellow-haired bitch is like, "Yeah, I have a crush right
And
now."
you know she's
And
talking about the fucking main dude.
the main bitch is like, "Oh, who could it be?" And I'm like, "Dude, this is not a secret. I've seen the show's poster. I know that every single girl on it is going to be in love with him inexplicably." And I
Including the
groaned,
cousin.
and including, I knew immediately when I saw her, oh, she wants to suck his dick. Oh, it's like it's so obvious. I can see it in her eyes. I can see the lust already. Yeah, this show is really, really generic and bad, and like it's another one of those wacky rom-com scenarios where, oh, they okay, first of all,
They don't enjoy each
okay,
other's company, but now they're extenuating circumstances that have to force them to get
the
together.
extenuating
But they're gonna,
circumstances are fucking stupid because the
but they're gonna get
grandpa
together and
and
they're gonna fall in love anyway.
this guy's grandpa and this girl's grandma are getting it on in the sheets apparently. And they're like, "You know what? Like, we missed out on love because we, like,
Yeah,
pretended to hate each other in high school. So we're just going to, like, like, parasocially get our grandchildren
Yeah,
together in order
yeah,
to live
fucking
out
the
our childhood
grandfather.
romance through them.
This is what I was talking about by the show being so mean spirited and being like, "Hey, the grandpa character is like, hey, grandson, I never got to enjoy young love when I was your age, so to make sure that you do, so you don't miss out on the experiences of young love that I and your friend's grandmother missed out on, I'm gonna force you to marry the granddaughter of this woman I've been banging since both of our spouses died. And if you don't, I'm gonna give your inheritance of the family business to this fucking dog I picked up off the street. Oh, what's that? You wanna build a relationship with someone you like over time and develop strong romantic feelings and then have a beautiful proposal happen later? What are you, fucking gay?"
See, I didn't even necessarily see that as mean-spirited because it's so mind-meltingly stupid and obviously just whatever would justify the stupid premise that I just didn't even take any of it as real. I was like, this is a fever dream, which to be fair, that's the most unique thing about it. That the premise is so much dumber than any other show of its ilk. It's not I mean, okay, I thought the bit about selling the family business to the dog was pretty funny. That got a bit of a chuckle out of me on 2 times speed, but every other part of it was like, I mean, at least it's, like, kind of entertainingly dumb.
I don't know, I genuinely felt kind of bad when the girl was like, the main girl character was like, no, like I don't want to just marry someone just because with like no without getting to know them. I want to build a relationship, and you have to have a beautiful romantic proposal." And then her grandmother just whispers something in her ear, which I never figured out what it was. But then she's just like, she's basically like forced into like giving up her idea of like a romantic life in the future just for some whatever fucking reason by her own family.
Don't get me wrong, that is tragic, but I felt no sympathy for her because she's a generic tsundere, which is a crime worse than murder.
Unforgivable. Yeah,
Yeah, and the main
this
guy is
shows.
John Every Anime, which is somehow a crime even worse than being a generic tsundere. So that's how you know we're in good company.
Like, if I wanted to watch a show of recent memory that is about two people getting together due to external factors and extenuating circumstances, I just go back and watch that one show last season about the two
The really
coworkers.
autistic main characters.
Yeah, exactly. Because
I liked that
a
show. I want to get back to the manga for that.
yeah,
I
because
really
A,
had
they
fun with
don't
that.
hate each other, and B, their autism is endearing, and C, they're doing it consensually because neither one of them want to move.
The main girl in that show is into maps. She just likes maps. That's so cool. That single character detail is worth it gave me more positive emotion than this entire season of this show probably would. Like cumulatively all of the positive emotions I feel throughout watching this entire show will not amount to even half of the amount of positive emotion I feel about the main girl in that show liking maps so much. Like that's perfect. Dream girl.
Yeah, or I'd rather just fucking watch Ranma one half.
Yeah, that's also a good choice as opposed to this. Basically, any competent rom com. Like, it can be a wacky scenario rom com because, you know, rom coms tend to be sitcoms as well. But, like, it has to be a not stupid situation, or at least an endearingly dumb one instead of whatever the fuck this is.
I'll tell you what it is. It's trash. And so is
Agreed.
fucking Medaka Kuroiwa is impervious to my
This
charms.
this one was disappointing because I saw the cover to the manga. Because I was looking up, just like glancing at the AniList page for these while I was watching them. Not for Zenshu, which, oh boy, that decision certainly backfired. But for this show, I looked at the manga and I was like, oh my god, it's got like the cover of a shoujo manga. It appeared at first glance, but I was like, oh, it's like a shoujo thing. It has a female main character. Okay, so it's gonna be like have a much higher chance of being competent than the non-shoujo rom-coms. Because, I mean, no offense to us boys over here. Generally speaking, we're not that great at writing rom-coms, at least anime rom-coms. Most of the time, they tend to be like fan service, trite garbage. And so I'm like, okay, we've got like a shoujo manga. I didn't actually look at who the author was, though, and that was a big mistake. And I still don't know who the author is. Maybe it was written by a woman. Because
Let me
I went into it
check.
thinking the one thing it couldn't be was fan service garbage. And I watch it, and I see that shot in the OP of the 5 girls with the conspicuously short skirts. And then I go back to the manga and see the genre ecchi on it. And go, I got you baited. I fell for it again, award.
The author is Ron Kuze, which I think is a feminine name. Ron? R-A-N?
I do not know.
Let me see what happens if I put that into a search.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of male mangaka also go under female pen names. So, who knows? It doesn't super matter. What does matter is that this show makes you feel how short the skirts are in every shot. Makes you feel like they're just about to go right up at any moment with like the slightest gust of winds. There's this one shot I cannot get over, where the main girl, right? So the entire premise is that she's trying to get on Medaka Kuroiwa's good side. She's like, oh, this is the one guy who isn't obsessed with me. And she, like, in a fit of frustration, like, suddenly sits down in her chair. But with how short the skirt is, you like, see the entire motion. And with where the cloth is located, her panties are right up against that chair seat. Like, normally when you sit down in a skirt, you, like, make sure that the cloth of the skirt is like a barrier between your underwear and the chair. Normally it's long enough that it isn't a huge deal. But if it is, you, like, push it down such that, your disgusting underwear isn't up against the chair that other people are presumably going to be using at some point later in the day. But instead, like, she just suddenly sits down on it. And, like, I mean, with how people act around her, I'm sure as soon as she got up, like, half the class was sniffing it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, that's so gross.
What does it say about me where I just didn't even register that at all?
It doesn't say anything about you. It says something about how boring the show is.
School designs.
Yeah, I mean, she starts.
I was too distracted by the
pretending
subtitles
to be a cat. Oh, what? Was there something with the subtitles?
I can't speak for you, but my translation, talking about how he smashed the like button. Just kidding, unless.
Okay, I think I did get the same translation. I'm not sure if they used the word "smash the like button" in mine.
They
but
definitely used it for mine.
The one thing I like in this show is when he says in a deadpan tone, "No pics for Mew," like reversing the cat pun. I thought that was pretty funny, but then the entire class pointed it out, like, "Oh my god, he reversed the pun!" And I was like, "Thanks for explaining the joke."
He's on a mewing
got
streak.
If that was in the show's subtitles, it would actually be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, this one's just kind of generic. It's the kind of premise that is designed to go on forever. The main dude is training to be a monk because he's gonna inherit his family's temple, and so the entire reason he went to
I didn't even get that far. I got to the point where the main girl was like, "Pantsu," and like tries flashing her panties at him. And I was like, I give up on life.
Oh, this bitch has no, like, she cares more about this random dude's like wanting to be a simp over her than her own like self-respect. I will fucking expose myself and debase. Yeah.
This is a figment of fiction that could not possibly exist in reality. No woman would act like this unless it's someone who you should stay the fuck away from.
But Crunchy, if I act stoic and don't give this random e-thought who's this random bimbo's attention at a time of day, that means she'll want to show her panties and pull me into the nurse's room and try to take my virginity.
Yeah, I mean, that's the dream it sells. Genuinely, if someone is like this obsessed with you to the point of debasing themselves, they're not right. Stay away from them. You probably shouldn't get with them.
Now, if we're
Yeah,
talking
this
a
show's bad.
fantasy, yeah, a fantasy that's actually worth living, welcome to Japan, Miss Elf. Is the true male fantasy all of us true selves strive for.
In line with shows being isekai that you thought couldn't possibly be, I thought, okay, reverse isekai. Cool, we're staying on Earth. That's good. They immediately go to the fantasy world. That's bad.
But it's okay. It was all a setup, Crunchy. It was all it was all just for the twist to occur. And by
Yeah, I mean,
twist,
I
I mean
got to the
central gimmick.
twist. I did not get much further beyond it
You didn't?
because,
Wait, did you get to where the elf got to the Earth?
yeah, I got that far.
Okay.
And I
What
know
point did
that she
you?
wakes up in his bed naked,
Yeah, that part
and
was a
I
little
thought
cringe.
that was stupid. And then, yeah, like barely beyond that. I was like, I think the elf's design is real cute, but the main character is John every anime. Strike one. They go to an isekai world that's really generic and bad. Strike two. She wakes up naked in his bed. Strike three. By that point, I was kind of just done.
Did you at least get to the part where she's like so enamored by everything about Japan, what she's seeing, that she, while still wrapped up in the blanket from the bed, is like on the balcony, crouched down and doing a little like waddle in place, but like, oh, this is so cool.
I don't think I got to the waddle, but like I think jumped ahead after the point where she woke up naked, and I saw like her looking out the balcony, and I was like, huh, I mean, I that doesn't look terrible, but I also have no interest in this show anymore. Give the main character an actual design, and I will hear you out,
Okay, yeah,
and
the
make the
main character
isekai world
is
like not
kind of a
completely
white
generic.
bread, basic ass bitch. But the you're not here for him. You're here for the elf. You're here for elf girl propaganda,
But
and I'm all here for it.
I don't agree. I'm here for the elf, sure, and she is cute, but I am here for the dynamic between the main character and the elf girl. And by giving him no design whatsoever that is like even remotely memorable, I'm just sitting here thinking like, why should I care? And I don't. And so I did not finish this episode.
I did, and I kind of enjoyed it. This is the kind of thing, the kind of show. It's like you just want to be put in a good mood. You don't care about like writing. You don't care about like a plot. You just want to see a cute thing. You just want to see a cute elf girl do cute elf thing. They made an elf girl who loves to eat. That's how like that is getting to Neon's Heart 101.
See, I want to like this show's premise is good. Don't get me wrong. But the execution needs more. It needs more art direction and a main character with a design.
How would you compare it to the closest show to it of its kind, Otaku Elf?
Otaku Elf. I'm trying to remember. Okay. I don't remember that one too well because I don't think I finished that episode either.
Zam.
But that one was better because at least it had more personality.
I will say that the song for Otaku Elf's opening is a bop.
I do not remember it.
I think who's it by? Was the band like Kien Romance or something, or is that the name of the song? It's the one that goes like Ume no Akito Boku Boku Rounds at the da da da. It has a lot of like shamisen or like Japanese like old classic Japanese guitars.
Yeah, I mean that show had a pulse. Like it seemed like it could be a charming. I mean, I don't want to say turn your brain off, but like not pay too much attention
Yeah,
kind of
later.
show.
I will say Otaku Health has more going on under the hood than this show. This one is definitely. Listen, we know why you're here. We've made our main character a blank slate. The most personality this dude has is that he is just kind of bored with his everyday work life, and he likes to sleep a lot because every time he goes to sleep, he finds himself into a fantasy world where he gets to hang out with this cute elf girl that he makes lunches for. Uh, like that's all the personality we'll give him. Aside from that, go nuts. Insert yourself into this and live out the elf girl fantasy girlfriend dreams of that you've always had deep down in your soul.
I don't know. I feel like there are so many. Uh, uh, you could just do this premise so much better. I mean, I know they're incomparable in terms of quality, but this is like a similar premise to even Dragon Maid, and that show's a masterpiece.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
If you
do the
want this
premise
show
better,
that's
and I will
both
pay attention.
yeah, if you want a version of this code that's both cute and also like worldly and insightful, then yeah, Dragon Maid blows the shit out of the water.
Dragon
But
Maid's
if
a
you're
10. Dragon
if
Maid's a masterpiece. Watch
yeah,
that instead.
I agree. But like, if you've already seen Dragon Maid and you're like, man, I don't want to rewatch Dragon Maid right now. I want to find something similar to it. If not, like, if you need something to kill time with while you're waiting for the Dragon Maid movie to come out, you just want something like of a similar, somewhat ilk that's just cute. If you want something like surface level Dragon Maid, this is fine. I think this show is inoffensive.
It just feels like Senko at home, and Senko
No,
wasn't
no,
even a
Senko is
great
way
show.
more like degen wish fulfillment. Because Senko like is supposed to be like, hey, here's this magical girl that's gonna take care of you after your long hard day at work. Sport. This one's just like now you can live out your dreams of taking out your cute elf GF, or just I suppose regular
Yeah,
GF.
but Senko had like decent visuals and a main character with not a great design, but a design.
I still remember the main dude from Senko giving any character like their age facial hair, even if it's like a couple lines to represent a 5 o'clock shadow or anything like that, is like infinitely more design attention than something like the main dude from this show.
Yeah, like
Also hope that
Senko
he
once
was
again,
like he had like a gruff voice.
I get that Senko is like the most blatantly apparent, very
Wish
literal
fulfillment.
wish fulfillment, yeah. But it's at least competent. It's
I
at
would
least
recommend this over Senko any day of the week.
I would recommend Senko over this, and I don't even love that show. Like, Senko is
I
like perfectly fine at what it does. If you want a cute slice of life,
I feel like if you're just looking for something surface level and inoffensive, this will do the job. If you've seen literally everything and you're just looking for just something to fill the cute void until we get the Dragon Maid movie, and then it's like a light little breezy appetizer before we get to the Dragon Maid movie main course 5-star meal.
I feel like we say a lot. Like, if you watch literally everything, this you should watch this show. But you're
Crunchy,
never
we
gonna
have
watch
to.
literally everything.
There were 16 shows in this block, and only 5 of them are like worth recommending at all. We have to take what we can get.
I guess.
Listen, this show was worth it just to see. Watching the entire episode was worth it just to see the little waddle that she does.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you this. You can do a lot worse than this show in this block.
As we are about to find out, because now we're going to dive into the fucking toilet fire of nonstop back-to-back shit-ass isekai. Starting with Headhunted to Another World, from Salaryman to Big Four.
This show is almost a masterpiece. If this show just it has the best premise ever, and it doesn't realize it. And it's frustrating.
Really?
Okay. This
Are
show,
you joshing me right now? Is this gonna be an epic prank?
I'm not joshing you. Alright, so Headhunted in... Wait, no, hold on. Wait, hold on. What the fuck? Is this the one? These isekai titles are so similar that I am like
This is the one
second
where
guessing myself.
where it's the salaryman dude who keeps getting job transferred to different
Okay,
shithole
it is that
locations.
one. It is the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, so this guy has been I'm going to talk about it in general terms because the actual specifics of how it does each of the things in its premise, I mean, it's isekai, it's dog shit. It's not a good show, but it's almost a masterpiece if it had just realized what the gold in its premise is. This guy has been abused in the workplace. But time and time again, like his boss has just shafted him, and he's like, "What the fuck am I even working for? This sucks." And then he gets transported to another world, and the Demon King, he's different. He's different from his boss. He's like, "Hey, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I really truly value your contributions. I see that you're a hard worker." And I'm like, this is genius commentary if only this show recognized it. Imagine the Demon King being a better boss than those under an earthly capitalist system. Imagine what that says about society, how the literal Demon King is a better boss than them. I want this show to have like a pro-union, pro-workers' rights Demon King that like really, really treats his grunts well, that is like super humanitarian, and then that he goes out into the world and realizes that, oh, like they're all being oppressed under this like hyper capitalist, all the humans are being oppressed under this hyper capitalist system, and all their, they're being run like shit, and all the kings are like super evil and like psychopathic like they are in real life. I want this show to be that. That's such a good premise. That's like Zom 100 level stuff. Where, Zom 100's premise was like the zombie apocalypse is better than, the modern state of the Japanese worker. That's so cool, but this show just doesn't get it. It doesn't get it at all. And I'm like, I could do this show better. I could literally write this show but good. I'm confident in that assertion because I saw everything in this premise and this show did none of it. And I am so upset. I kept on imagining the good version of this show. The pro worker union Demon King. And it just isn't that. I'm so upset. I'm actually so upset.
You know what? I will say credit to you. I think I was just so bored by the premise and it's just knowing like just off rip that was going to be a boring ass generic ass isekai that didn't I didn't take the time to actually appreciate that commentary, and now that you pointed it out, that could have been very funny. I did write in my notes that honestly, compared to all other isekais, this is not the worst premise ever of the demon lord hiring this like neglected, overworked, underappreciated salaryman to be one of his top generals, specifically because of the skills that his bosses overlooked him for that are valuable to this demon lord for his conquest of this fantasy kingdom. It's just that the execution is the most boring generic thing ever. Like
That's the
it
problem.
plays out exactly how you think it would. Oh wow, all three of the other big four generals are actually women who are probably gonna want his dick?
I have all caps in my notes. A show with this exact same premise could be a masterpiece. And I mean that wholeheartedly. If this show had just gotten its shit together, understood what the assignment was, and done it, we could have had a great show. But instead, like this could have been one of the best isekai. If only it knew. Yeah,
Um
like I have more to say about what this show could have been than what it actually is, because what it actually is extremely unexceptional. Once again, I am confident I could write this show but good.
the only thing of note that I took of is that the I don't know if you watched the opening for the show unless you skipped through it. But
I did, and it has the weirdest, I think I know what you're gonna say, the weird blue lighting.
no, I was actually gonna say the You know that one of the big four generals who's like wearing this big burlap suit with like the six glass orbs in the
Oh
for
yeah, she's
eyes.
also a girl.
Yeah, and
I was like,
but
oh, of
not just a girl.
course.
She's a hot, sexy elf babe who was wearing this weird like turtleneck. It's weird. It's both a turtleneck, but it's also a tank top. And she's also wearing glasses, and she's also going to be the father of our 8 children.
Understandable. Yeah, I was more
uh,
distracted by the weird fucking blue lighting. And the song is
I
also
I don't
really
remember.
weird.
I don't remember
I
that.
don't hate it, but it's a weird song.
The last thing I wanted to note is that the demon lord of this show looks like the 2003 Ninja Turtles cartoon Shredder design. I highly doubt that you've seen it.
Yeah, I have not. I thought I did not like the design very much.
It just reminded me of like an over designed Shredder from the 4 Kids TMNT show.
Honestly, I would have preferred if the Demon King was the Demon Queen and she was a hot girl. I feel like that would have fixed this
And she
show.
also wanted the main character's dick.
Well, I feel like that'd be an abuse of power, considering she's his boss and whatnot. I feel like with
Yeah,
how
you
I
know what?
interpret the
That's
show,
absolutely right.
that would be a
Bosses in
bit
real life
weird.
would never abuse the kind of power for
Oh, sure,
sexual
they would never.
favors.
Well, the
Definitely
point is
not.
that she's supposed to be the good one. She's supposed to be the good boss who wouldn't do that.
Well, I think that's all we've
Yeah,
got to say about that one.
overall, I am depressed.
Yeah, but let's keep that depression train going because now we got from Bureaucrat to Villainess. Dad's been reincarnated.
I didn't watch this one.
Dude, literally, my only note for this is just in all lowercase letters. No. It's the most boring. I would kill myself if I watched any more of the show. I would like fucking flatline for 12 episodes.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like it didn't miss much.
It's just a fucking generic otome game isekai, villainous isekai, except the twist is that a salaryman father who is the father of a daughter who played these kinds of games is now taking the role of the villainess. Oh boy, what groundbreaking innovation. I
Who
tremble at
could
the
have
sheer creative
guessed?
depth of these writers.
I could have never guessed that this show would be bad.
Yeah, so gonna move on from this one immediately onto the next generic isekai. I'm a noble on the brink of ruin, so I might as well try mastering magic.
I also did not watch this one.
I also just made it like 5 minutes into this one before I tapped out because once again, the most generic thing you can think of, a kid who, yeah, it's just a guy who reincarnates into a younger body, studies magic, tries to become the very best like no one ever was. There's probably some tragic twist going off of the title. It didn't seem like it from the 5 minutes I watched, but I did not care to check out the rest of it because it's generic, boring, and lame.
Who could have guessed?
All right, now this one had almost an identity until I remembered that there's a better version of the show exists already. The daily life of a middle-aged online shopper in another world.
Okay, I did watch this one. This show is like, remember when I was talking about the Isekai Event Horizon with Zenshu? This is also that, where instead of, having a build up like, oh, this guy was so depressed in his life and then he died and got reincarnated and now everything's gonna be awesome. Instead of that, they just they like pull off something like the montage of Kizu Monogatari at the episode of Bake Monogatari, episode 1. Kind of like that, where they just montage the part where he dies and like completely skip past it. All
Dude,
while
oh wait, no, I
it's
remember. You
the
reminded me
song
now. I
in
also
the
looked at my note.
background.
I also looked at my notes. It was fucking a rendition of Also Sparch Zarathustra, how you ever pronounce it. The fucking opening theme of 2001 A Space Odyssey, where the monkeys discover the monolith and figure out how to use tools with the bones and shit.
It's so, I could not stop laughing.
I also
I
fucking
was in
lost it.
awe.
The show is ugly as sin. It's hideous to look at. It was a horribly edited montage sequence also, but the fact that it was so horribly painfully edited but also set to a rendition of to the 2001 song, fucking hysterical.
Just what is this? What has anime come to? Why?
Every time we get to this part of the seasonal podcast, I'm always reminded of one of, like, my opinion, Digi's best videos, where she was like, "There's too much goddamn anime. Imagine what would happen to all of the like good to even mid anime productions if we just canned all of the shit bag ones like these isekai and funneled all of their productions schedules, funding, and talent into those other shows."
Look, man, this is why I'm so passionate about Headhunted to Another World, because we need to vanquish our hyper capitalistic tendencies that lead to this and make good art instead. Headhunted, they should have recognized what they had going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like if you wanted to watch this one,
isekai
just
is
go
so
watch the
boring
fucking
that-
like cooking with my cheat skill
Campfire
another
cooking in
world.
Another World.
Yeah, by Mappa. It's literally the
That one was
exact same
actually
concept,
decent.
but like actually had like a little bit of soul to it.
It had soul, it had good animation. Like, come on, it's just that was a fine show. No, not great or anything, but it was perfectly serviceable.
You know what
This
wasn't
show was not.
serviceable? I Want to Escape from Princess Lessons.
I did not watch this one.
You missed out because like the very opening shot of the show is one of the worst some of the worst CG I've ever seen in my life. In fact, while I'm talking about it, I implore you to quick pull up the first episode because I'm pretty sure this happens in
Alright,
like the
I'll
first
do
30
that.
seconds. And there's gonna be a
What
butterfly that you're gonna see like landing on a flower, I think it was.
is it called? I Escaped from Princess Lessons?
I Want to Escape from Princess Lessons. We're gonna get your
Alright.
live Crunchy Bagels reaction to the CG butterfly. Then you're gonna look at it and
Alright.
you're gonna be like, wow, this is that did they? I can't believe they got the rights
Okay,
to.
we've got blue sky, clouds, some greenery, some
Getting-
yellowery. What?
getting
What the
ready
fuck?
for it.
Wait, what the fuck? I mean, at least it looks photorealistic.
Dude, it's
It
the
looks-
fucking. Remember that one episode of SpongeBob where they're taking care of Wormy and then it turns into a butterfly and starts terrorizing the town in a bubble? And every time someone gets
It's
up close to it,
literally
it cuts to that. It cuts up to like a live action like close up of a butterfly just going bzz, 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 right into the camera.
See, that was done as a joke. This show.
A,
This
just
show-
as a side note, that like low key scared me as a child, and B, it reminded me of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it didn't miss much.
Yeah, they they letterbox like the entire first half of the episode, and they'd be like, I'm like, oh, ooh la la, aren't we fancy? Fucking EMT squared.
But Neon Zom 100 did it, so it must be good. It must just be inherently good to letterbox your scenes without, context that may have made it good in Zom 100 and not in a generic isekai.
I was curious to see how long they would keep up the letterboxing for. So I scrolled through the episode until it got to the point where it was no longer letterboxed. You want to know what was the big groundbreaking scene that got the letterboxing to go away? So
Did she escape from Princess Lessons?
she escaped from Princess Lessons.
I mean, I can kind of tell where this is going, perhaps. Just a small hint in the title.
Also, I would be remiss because I skimmed around just to be like, okay, is there like literally anything of substance in this EMT squared show, which I know is retarded of me to have said, to have even begun to question at all. But I need to point out that EMT squared are finding new ways I've never seen before in an anime to be ass. Would you believe me if I told you that they play the opening of the show at the end of the episode, and then immediately after the opening, Like, and this isn't a thing where they do the thing where they play like a credits scroll or a roll or whatever against like a black or like generic background before like the next episode where they actually have the proper opening with the song and stuff with its dedicated animation. They play like the regular show opening at the end of the episode, and then right after the opening is done, they play the ending.
That is, why not just play the opening at the beginning then? Like, that's the reason why
they play an opening credit sequence
ending,
and then the ending credit sequence
ending.
back to back. So basically, there's three. The last 3 minutes of this show are credits. The same credit sequence twice.
That, I mean, I can only imagine that they realized at some point we don't have enough show to fill up our time slot.
I think
so
the
we'll
reason was like,
just-
well, if we play the opening, that's gonna fuck with our letterboxing. So let's not, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really weird.
It's like
I've never seen a show that
I gotta
does
hand
that.
it to EMT Squared. They're all every time I feel like they can, they can't go any lower. They can't find brand new ways to be dog shit at making anime. They break through. They find new ground to break through.
They are actually breaking new grounds
In Abyss Fiction. Speaking of Abyss Fiction, anyway, I'm falling in love with you. That wasn't a show title, by the way, Crunchy. I'm confessing my feelings to you live in front of the whole world to see.
Oh my god. I'll need to think on it for a bit, Neon. You're kind of taking me by surprise.
All right, hell, I'll give you some time to think
I-
about it. In the meantime, we can talk about this completely unrelated show.
Yeah, so I wrote down as one of my notes, this dialogue makes me soft. No, not even. Infertile. I will never have kids, and it's this anime's fault.
Can I just say, what a fucking missed opportunity the show was, because I read the synopsis and I was like, oh wait, this is actually like a interesting framing device, because it's taking place explicitly in the 2020 COVID pandemic, and it's
really?
about this girl who said that she feels like she wasted her youth, or her youth got wasted not because of like any action she took, but because of what happened in the world that didn't let her to have an exciting childhood.
I did not even realize that.
Yeah, they were talking about, well, they never name drop COVID specifically, and also you would never fucking realize it because none of them look like they're even in a pandemic. None of them are like even show the. I'm pretty sure they're on a train at one point. I see no one wearing masks, and and this is fucking
I
Japan,
straight up did not
mind you.
realize this.
Like,
I did not read the synopsis.
this
I
is
did
fucking-
not know this.
They mention a pandemic in world. This isn't even just a synopsis thing. They mention a pandemic in universe, being like keep being aware of the the virus illness going around. Even on the fucking train, and this is Japan, mind you. These motherfuckers be wearing masks when there's no pandemic going on. They've been wearing long before because that's just a thing you do in Japan, because you can't afford to get sick and you don't want to get other people sick, so people be wearing masks long before there was any risk of a pandemic. I saw not a one wearing a mask on that fucking train.
I'm not even joking when I said I did not know that this show took place in the pandemic.
If you look at the synopsis on either Mal or Annulist, I bet I can find it right now, of Anyway, I'm Falling in Love with You.
I mean, I believe you, but I would not believe it just by looking at the show. Yeah, so this show, I got a little excited for it when I saw that it was a reverse harem. You don't see too many of those. And so I was like, huh, okay, it's like not exactly the same thing I've seen a billion times. I guess I'll give it a bit of a look-see. It was not good.
Yeah, as soon as I found out it was a reverse him, because I thought it was going to be a romance that a story of like a high school romance that got affected by the pandemic, and now it's affecting like a little ensemble cast of youths who feel like they're the best times of their lives are being wasted because of factors outside of their control. It'd be like an anime romance story version of Inside, where You feel like that horrible sinking feeling of, damn, I really wanted to do something with my life, and I was like at the perfect time to do it, but now like a literal world effect, like a global event has prevented me from doing this, and now I feel like this time of my life is being wasted. The show is called Anyway I'm Falling in Love with You, but it should have been called How I Got Passed Around by My Four Childhood Friends in High School.
I did not get very far into this one, I'm not gonna lie. I I made it maybe 5 minutes.
I also didn't care for the framing device in universe of it was the adult version of the main character flashing back to her youth. I would have much rather just preferred to just take place in the peak of the pandemic.
I
Because like
think
that's like
another note of mine
because that's
with that
fertile ground of storytelling. That's like the biggest major global event that's happened that has like been kind of relatively untouched when it comes to storytelling.
yeah, like I mean, you describing that premise, it's already immediately more interesting than anything this show does. Whereas, once again, a note that I wrote that I think also sums it up very well is I don't think the plot of this show will be anything beyond men.
Yeah, no, it's not. I didn't watch the whole first episode, but even I was like, yeah, it's like, oh boy, I wonder which one of these my four childhood friends are gonna be the one to put a fucking baby in me.
Yeah, overall, I have clinical depression.
Okay, but you know what? It's been a while, so why don't we refresh ourselves with a show that's actually somewhat decent? Flower and Asura.
I mean, you say somewhat decent, and like, sure, it is leagues above everything else we've been talking about
Crunchy, it's
lately.
you have to be excited for this one. It's the next Studio Bind show.
It is?
Yeah, this is
I
Bind.
didn't even notice.
I didn't realize until I was watching the opening. I saw the Bind logo. I was like, wait, what the fuck? I didn't hear about this one. I thought the next Bind show was gonna be the fucking rock show.
Wow, yeah, it is. Which probably explains why it's one of the better looking shows this season. It's it at least looks good. It looks like a modern up to date anime as opposed to, all the
It,
other
it's
ones we
it's no
watched.
Onimai or it's no peak of what Mushoku Tensei looks like at its best, but as far as like a regular show goes, it's good. It's passable.
I just thought the show was really boring. That's like its one big problem.
Yeah.
It's nothing fundamental with like the premise or the characters or anything like that. It's just that it's so boring. Like genuinely, I was struggling to pay attention throughout most of it because like okay, I'm kind of down with the whole I'm trying to become a poet thing. I'm down with the whole I'm a shy girl who wants to get friends and whatnot and isn't confident in my abilities. But when I, get really into my art, really into my element, I start, I start impressing people, right? I really got behind that aspect of the main character. But in terms of like the moment to moment, I the dialogue's just kind of flaccid. Dialogue's just kind
Yeah.
of
It
it's
doesn't.
not
I know it's
that
not
good.
supposed to evoke the same kind of energy as Onimai because they're two completely different kinds of shows. But I was like, I think back to what I've seen of Onimai. And the dialogue is just so full of like bounciness and fun, and like even to whatever innocuous thing they might be talking about is like still like worth paying attention to. Then I look at this show and I'm like, yeah, they're definitely saying words, and I'm definitely like following along, but I can kind of feel it myself, like my head nodding to the side, being like, "Oh, gotta pick it back up," because they're not saying
See,
anything too. They're saying interesting things in a boring way.
I want to get behind this show. I really do. I saw this. Okay, so when I was in my seasonal rush of watching all the isekai, I saw, like not terrible animation, like an actual premise. Oh my god, like I'm saved. And then I watch it and I'm like, okay, but I'm bored.
Listen,
you're doing
Crunchy,
so much right, and
extroverted,
then you
short-haired
just
Aryan girl
fumble.
will save me.
It does so much right, and then it just doesn't get the most important thing right, which is moment to moment be entertaining.
Yeah,
It
I
just
feel
isn't.
like I I will say the scene where the main girl is down at the beach and she's doing her reciting of her like that Asura poem or whatever. Because her whole thing is that she's big into recitation and wants to be like a reader of poems to an audience. That whole scene where she's like really getting into character and saying it in like the rain on the beach, and the Gyaru
That
girl
was cool.
like seeing her and she's like being tangled up in the vines and like being torn apart on like a molecular level while she's singing and then being rebuilt, and then like getting into the I am Asura uh dialogue when she's saying that, like the voice actor's giving a great performance. I was like getting into it. I thought that was like that easily the best scene of the episode.
It's just everything outside of that.
Yeah, I can see myself getting bored of this show if it doesn't deliver more scenes like that at a more frequent pace. Because this show is a very slow burn. It's not the kind of show that seems like the only times there's going to be impressive animation is when they're going to do things like that one scene where they get a little like abstract and non-diegetic.
I don't know. I mean, once again, I really do like the premise. This girl's like super into poetry. Poetry isn't really my thing, but I could see myself still getting behind it and like, it piquing my interest on the subject a little bit, as a lot of these cute girl shows tend to try to do.
It's piquing my
Okay.
interest via the broadcasting club, if only because I literally work in broadcast.
I mean, yeah, that that definitely tracks.
Also,
But
don't tell my employers that I watch this show at work.
hey man, as long as you're doing the job.
I am. I do it
But
when I'm done all my other job work for the day.
yeah, as long as you've done that, they can't complain too much. But yeah, I wish I could like this show, but it's just kind of mid.
Yeah, of the 5 shows of this block, Sakamoto Days, Medalist, Zenshu, Welcome to Japan Myself, and this one, I think I would drop this one the soonest because I can see this one getting the most boring the quickest. But from what I've seen, like there's an idea here. There's an idea, there's a voice in the show that I can tell wants to be told. The shy girl wanting to find her voice in recitation, and I do like the cute extroverted Gyaru Aryan girl who's like, I can fix her. Maybe I'm reading too much of this. I'm gonna get hit with another Fell for It Again award. Fell for fake Yuri in a show that's probably not gonna be Yuri.
I thought this show was going to be Yuri going into it when I saw the whole like the title Flower and Asura. It immediately thought like, oh, okay, it's like emblematic of the two characters. They're gonna be like the two leads, and they're definitely going to be baiting in lesbians with each other. Uh, it doesn't seem like a Yuri now that I've actually seen it, but I definitely thought that going in.
I mean, hey, the two main characters sleep in the same room at the
I knew
end,
you were gonna
just
bring
in
that
the
up.
first day of them
I
meeting each
fucking knew
other.
it.
So
We
never
can
say
only
never.
hope.
Yeah, if the show ends with them violently and aggressively scissoring in episode 12, I would say the whole thing would have been worth it. And sadly,
Yeah,
and
that would
Crunchy,
be.
you have to continue the show so you can make your Bind documentary one day.
Listen, I'm not getting my Fell for It Again award for the Yuri. All right.
I'm just saying, if you ever do continue to want to make that Bind documentary one day, like you said you did, this is gonna
We'll
have to
see.
be somewhat required viewing.
We shall see. Well, see,
But
mind you, I said that in a pre-Mushoku Season 2 world, where we didn't know that the animation was going to be so much worse.
that's what makes for a more interesting story, the ups and the downs, just like your called the Night Monogatari video.
Fair enough, I guess.
You know, it could be worse, Crunchy. They could have made a show like, I don't know, I'm living with an otaku NEET Kunoichi.
I when this show started off with, you know, the story, and it starts up with the guy about to get hit by the rubble, I was like, you know what? I Zenshu got me, but not this time. This is about to turn into an isekai, isn't it? And then it didn't, and this show immediately got me in its good graces through that alone. It's still not good though.
I was gonna say, I was
But
waiting for
did-
the. Oh yeah, unfortunately, the show is ugly as sin, not funny. The premise is boring and has been done better a million times other places.
This show's just paced really weirdly. It feels like things just happen.
Yeah, the whole
It's
time I
just-
was watching this, I was reminded of the existence of what was it called? A salad bowl of eccentrics, that reverse isekai of all like the different wacky isekai characters being brought to the real world. And even though this isn't an isekai in any sense of the term, it's the idea of this like wacky ninja girl fighting demons with this regular dude and living boarding in the same place. It just kind of made me think like, huh, it's a kind of similar premise, except that other show had a lot more soul and like intrigue because it also like set up other characters. Like I still to this day think about the night girl who's just living out her life as a homeless person.
Yeah, like that was such an interesting idea, whereas this show has no ideas.
Hey, what if you had a cute
Except
otaku
for-
neat ninja girl who like is in love with you and was your bodyguard?
She's immediately in love with him. Which, okay, to anyone watching this show, they're not getting together. Not this season, not next season.
I
if
don't
it
know,
gets
Crunchy.
one.
There's
Not for
24
another-
episodes.
Not for another, oh wow, 24 episodes, and all of those 24 episodes, they will not get together. And all of the next 24 episodes, for a total of 48, they would not get together. For all episodes of this show, and except for maybe the very last one, they will not get together. Why would I watch this?
See, if
It's
this
just
show,
meant to pad out the runtime as long as possible.
I'm like so over shows about a boy and a girl getting like living together under the same roof and like just like baiting romantic tensions. Like just have them like either get together halfway through the season or fucking like have them already be living together and in love, like be it like newlyweds or
just-
something.
Just make them gay.
Or make
That
them
would
gay. I'd
fix
also be down for
everything.
that. That does. You're right. Lesbians fix everything. Sadly, there was not a lesbian in sight from what I saw. I only skimmed this episode.
Yeah, overall, I watched the entire episode mostly in 2x speed, and only because it was 10 minutes. Thank God it's 10 minutes. This could not.
Oh, was it
last
10 minutes? I didn't even
Yeah.
realize. I did not even fucking realize. I got it like a few minutes in and I fucking dropped it.
Yeah, they're 10-minute episodes. It says 24 on the definitely legit streaming site I was on, but it only says that because it like shows both episodes, like episodes 1 and 2. But as soon as I realized, oh, it's like 10 minutes and halfway through it starts with episode 2, I was like, oh,
Oh, that's weird.
I can stop watching.
What a blessing.
Nice.
That's 10 minutes.
Exactly.
That's like 11 minutes of time I've just been gifted.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have stopped had it been the full 20-minute treatment. Like, for this show, that's like one of the only redeeming parts about this show is that it is short.
Yeah, you know what
Like,
show
the
is
episodes
not
do
very
not-
redeeming though? Babanbabanban Vampire.
All right, I'm going to tell you my full experience with this show because I didn't watch it, but I did read the premise. When a 15-year-old, hold on, it's really small in my notes and I want to like actually speak this into the microphone. When 15-year-old Rinto falls in love, an ancient vampire who craves 18-year-old virgin blood must protect the teen's virginity at all costs. I wrote in my notes no, and then proceeded to not watch it.
Yeah, I only watched like up until the part where of the episode where he says that and like spells out the premise of the show himself. And I'm just like, it's literally
That's
grooming.
weird.
It's literally
That's
just
so
a grooming
weird.
show. It's a guy who's trying to protect the virginity of this teenager, so that way when he becomes of age, he can drink his pure virgin blood.
You know what, man? This show do got the pedophile vote, so at least it's got some fans.
It's got some fans. What's the score at right now? Last I checked, yeah, it's the rare below 6 average on Mal. So, and you can kind of understand why.
Maybe the pedophile vote isn't as valuable as we once thought.
But you know what? It's okay, because now we're getting onto the one of the most exciting shows to talk about this block. The last show of this block of episodes, Momentary Lily from our lords and saviors at Go Hands.
I remembered this show as you said it, because like at first I saw the title Momentary Lily and I was like, oh, what was that? And then it all came flooding back
Like
all
a
at once.
PTSD.
The repressed memories. It actually is. Go Hands should just get their hands off.
Go Hands, they can never make me hate you. Please continue making the most visually incomprehensible, overly detailed, fucking visual noise garbage of all time.
Every single one of their shows looks the same, and no one has ever been happy about it. I don't think I've met a single person who actually didn't Kazu say that one like cat show.
Yeah, the cat show does look different.
Go Hands?
Hang on, Crunchy, I gotta disagree with you though. No one of Go Hands shows simultaneously all look the same, but are like different, yet somehow like different in subtle ways. Like there'll be overlaps. You know you're watching a Go Hands show when the hair animation is fucking overly detailed, wild, and crazy to the point of being visual like slop, like overly detailed. Probably at this point now AI generated animation.
I mean, we're gonna get that next season. Ooh boy. But the main thing that stuck out to me about this show is that it has children's book dialogue. And I mean that with utmost sincerity. I've pulled some quotes out to demonstrate this. Wanna do your skincare, Hinappy? Not really. But you don't want dry hands. It'll make my hands slippery. Children's book dialogue. This is straight from a children's book. You cannot convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
Watch. I have even more quotes. The wild hunt is strong, but I'm not afraid when I'm with you. You're all awesome. Now, watch my special move. Something really strong. She like clarifies afterwards my special move is really strong. It's literally as if the show was for 5-year-olds. I'm not joking, it's children's book dialogue. Am I crazy for thinking this?
Honestly, I did not pay much attention to the dialogue as soon as they were talking about like using skincare lotion as a debuff, and I was just like, okay, I'm not here for the fucking writing anyway. I'm here to see how fucking wild the visuals get.
Oh my god. The gamer chick is so insufferable.
Gamer chick, a fucking bubbly big tit girl whose tits are always bouncing up and down.
Her tits have the physics of all the girls' hair.
You're right. I also love how the opening goes from moe anime girl singing to fucking death metal rap.
Yeah, that took me off guard. That's honestly the best thing about the show, though.
As far as the premise, I think the show is about high school girls with powers fighting monsters that look like Taboo from Super Smash Bros. Brawl Subspace Emissary, but with weird space stations for heads.
Yeah, it seems like it gives gacha game advertisement vibes. I'm not sure if it is,
what is
but
it
gives
based on?
Those vibes.
According to Mal, it is an original. And that does track with Gohan's Yeah, it's an original anime. There's no tie-in product or anything. It's no multimedia project.
All right. Could have fooled me. But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, it just looks visually like like all the other Gohan's shows. Not great.
yeah, dude. I looked back at Gohan's shows ever since they made what was it, K? They keep putting out like the weirdest looking fucking shows. Everyone knows the legendary abomination that is Handshakers, like literally one of the ugliest anime productions of all time. W's. Did we cover W's on the podcast before? No, this is before the
We did not.
podcast. Project Scarred. We definitely wait. Oh no, wait. We started in summer of 2021, right?
Yes.
Okay, that one was also before the podcast. But yeah, fucking girl I like forgot her glasses. The cat anime, with the working lady. All that, all hideous, all of the worst shit I've ever seen, and all in unique ways. Like Handshakers is like visual garbage, as we said. The girl I like forgot her glasses has the worst directing of like all time. Uh, the Master's Cat is Never Home or whatever that show was called has like weird filters over everything.
I mean, all their shows have weird filters over everything.
Yeah,
Everything
but
looks
like,
too
that one had
glossy,
it
while
had like really weird, like it almost
simultaneously
looked
being like
like a
too
stained
dim.
glass, like foggy stained glass.
I'd have to look back on the show to really remember. To me, they all just look like they just all look
You can
too
see the
dim while
Gohan's elements,
simultaneously
like the
too glossy.
yeah, you'll see like the recurring themes and elements, the visual shorthands that they use, but I feel like each one of their shows is like uniquely bad. And that's why they can never make me hate you, Gohans. Keep making the worst shit ever. I'm so excited for that fucking one anime that they announced back in September that you could tell was a Gohan show. What the fuck was it called? The exiled reincarnated Heavy Knight is unrivaled in game
You there?
knowledge. I was talking about I'm so excited for that next Gohan show of what was it? The exiled reincarnated Heavy Knight is unrivaled in game knowledge. Where I showed you that one trailer. Do you remember the shot of like the character walking and it's showing a worm's eye view of her
Oh
walking
my
beneath the floor?
god.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Every Gohan show is uniquely bad.
Yeah, overall, get your hands off.
Their slogan is animation entertainment to advance. Advance myself to a noose. Dude,
It really does
one
feel
day
like that.
we're gonna sit down and we're gonna watch Handshakers together.
That would be the best drunk watch of all time. Oh my lord. When
I've
I
only
turn
seen
21, we're doing
I've only
it.
seen the first episode of Handshakers way back when, and even to this day, I still distinctly remember every fucking horrible visual element to it.
Didn't that show win like some kind of Crunchyroll award for its animation?
I think it did. Crunchyroll shamelessly, those shameless bastards put out like a trailer of like their staff people at the company being like, Handshakers visuals are amazing. It's like just flagrantly lying to everyone. I think I
Dear
made a fucking
God.
like shit post about it on my side channel in fucking Movie Maker about it. It's really bad, but I remember it. I also
I
want to
mean,
say, wait, go ahead real quick.
the visuals of Handshakers, they are exceptional, to be fair. They are in fact, I mean, they're exceptional for the wrong reasons, but they have negative riz. They have ironic riz, joking riz.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say though is that there was a Twitter clip online that I saw of the show getting quote unquote real, where in episode 2, bowling ball tit girl who with the tit physics the same as everyone's hair, she is getting the dog shit kicked out of her by two of the monsters, and she's like begging for her life, like, oh my god, this must be a dream. I want to wake up, mom. Please wake up. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Me when I watch Gohan's shows.
And I thought she was gonna get like fucking murked, like in a most brutally, horribly, untonally fitting way possible. She doesn't. But the leader character, the blonde leader character girl, she gets fucking a laser blasted through her chest, blood everywhere, and she dies at the end of episode 2.
Oh god, they're going full Medica Magica on us. Except not as good. Maybe it has some unique writing ideas.
Probably not.
True.
Anyway, yeah, that's Momentary Lily. It's a moment that I'll never forget because all Gohan shows are unforgettable in how bad they are.
Yeah. It is what it is.
How's it going, y'all? Future Neon here. This was part 1 of our Winter 2025 Seasonal Anime Impressions podcast. If you want to keep up with part 2 and future anime content coming soon to the channel, then be sure to subscribe to Castaway Anime, follow us on YouTube and Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Neon Manta, and you'll see us next time.